do go to new business or?
Yeah, we'll go to new business. We'll resume the meeting at 10:36.
It just said Shelley Thompson, the call-in info.
Holidays, okay.
Hello, this is Doreen.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Doreen. Hi, Doreen. All right, guys, next up on the agenda, on the agenda is Carol and day labor. I know we got an email back from you a couple days ago, or yesterday, you know, talking about the day labor Giza temp program. And, you know, we were just talking kind of with the council here, talking about funding sources. So, I mean, I guess, you know, if we get this started, how soon could we get it going?
So if we're talking about a full-scale day labor program, that may have to wait until we get back to work because I need a lot more resources. And the actual day labor proposal included our own resources for funding, using our WIOA funding and some other funding to purchase things like the computer software that we may need and some other things to get ready. If you're needing it for the specific project, for the cleanup project, we could use our current procedures for our Giza program and actually just check with Scott and payroll on a process that we could do to pay them daily for that. If that sounds reasonable to you all, because there's a lot of research that still needs to be done to get a full-scale day labor. And I can explain those, like there are 3 separate ways we could do it. We could, the proposal I sent was with our resources. If we weren't able to do it with our resources, because that takes time and approval from our funders, then it would take more money out of the general fund. And I can do a proposal for each and show you the differences. But the original proposal I sent was just for using our own resources and very limited general fund money. So again, if we're talking about just doing it for the cleanup project first, we have some people who are ready to work. I just have to contact them again and verify if they're still ready to work and get the ball rolling, because they've done all their background checks, drug testing, orientation process. So it's just a matter of giving up the call and seeing if they're ready to work and getting paperwork down to HR for those. And we have payroll workers that were working and got laid off. So we have those to take from to recruit. And then we have new ones that completed the orientation process before we got closed. So we have maybe 10 to 15 people that I can call and see if they're ready to work for that project in particular.
So I wonder if we get a cleanup crew, who would that be under? Would that be under, what do you think,
Well, we get it under behavioral health funds like we talked about, that would be great. Utilize that, but we haven't got the word back on whether we're allowed to have it.
It's in your packet, under new business.
So yeah, all I would need was the amount of people that you might need and then which budget's coming under. And then I can do the phone calls and make sure people are ready to work and then do the appropriate paperwork.
So how long is that road? 5 miles?
6 at least.
That thing like all. Unless you have to have a couple trucks with a trailer to put your washing machines or TVs or
Mhm.
tires and, you
Yeah, so
know,
all that,
furniture.
It'll all have to be separated.
Yeah.
Huh? There's a missing page.
From where?
But those would be, I think that's something that we'll have to coordinate with the community cleanup and also with our,
The letter.
with
Yeah,
our
where's the rest of the letter?
sanitation on
Oh,
dropping
they only
off free
copied the
stuff too,
one.
so.
Oh, I didn't go two-sided.
No.
See that, one second. Mike, she's got a letter here that talks about that. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from Vanya Hogan, the attorney. Yeah, but she only gave us, the copy only includes the front page.
Oh,
So I'll just read it out.
They didn't do the two-sided.
So it says, use of third-party billing revenues to address increased dumping of garbage and larger items during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for your recent message. As I understand it, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to an increase in the dumping of garbage and large items like appliances within the reservation, creating unsafe and unsanitary conditions for the community. You've asked whether the White Band can use revenues from third-party billings from the band's behavioral health services, the billing revenues, to fund a temporary cleanup project. In my March 10th letter to you regarding the use of billing revenues for other projects, I explained that the use of billing revenues is governed by the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act, otherwise known as the Act. I discussed in that letter, among other purposes, the Act allows tribes to use billing revenues to provide A, additional healthcare services, B, for any healthcare related purposes, and C, to ensure the highest possible health status for Indians. The Act doesn't define healthcare, but the definitions of health promotion, behavioral health, and health profession in the Act help discern Congress's intent. My analysis on those issues in my March 10th letter informs my opinion here. As a general matter, increased uncollected garbage creates, quote, a threat to public health and environment by contaminating water sources and providing breeding grounds for disease-carrying insects and animals. And she cites an article. With respect to larger items like abandoned appliances, there's an additional safety component. These items can present an immediate danger to people who accidentally come upon them. Moreover, they may create an attractive nuisance for children who may be tempted to play with them, and some larger items may themselves be vectors for the spread of communicable diseases. Cleanup of the increased garbage and unsafe items would be appropriate under the Act because cleanup would, quote, improve the physical environment in the reservation, and she cites 25 USC. Moreover, the cleanup project would serve as a, quote, adequate and appropriate program for community health, community safety, and environmental health, and she cites another act. In particular, the project would serve environmental health, quote, the branch of public health that focuses on the interrelationships between people and their environment, promotes human health and well-being, and fosters healthy and safe communities. And she also references some more policy. Finally, the cleanup project would likely, quote, promote achievement of objectives referred to in section 1602(2) of the Act, namely to ensure, quote, the highest possible health status for Indians and to provide all resources necessary to effect that policy. And she identifies 25 USC. She concurs in our assessment that a resolution identifying the cleanup project as a program for that purpose would buttress its allowance under the Act. Consequently, it is my opinion that funding the cleanup project would serve to, quote, provide additional healthcare services, a healthcare related purpose, and or otherwise to achieve the objectives in 25 USC section 1602, making it an allowable use of the billing revenue under the Act. And she references 25 USC. As you requested, I've prepared a resolution for the RBC to enact. Consistent with this opinion, please let me know if you have any questions about this or if I can be of further assistance. She has attached a resolution.
Hi, this is Shelley from Shooting Star. I just wanted to let you know I joined the meeting.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you, Shelley. She has attached a resolution
And
here.
Scott will also be joining us too.
Okay.
Thank you. She has attached a resolution. You want me to go through it? So, whereas on March 13th, Governor Walz declared a peacetime emergency to the COVID pandemic on March 16th. He also issued emergency executive order 2004 to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 by restricting environments where the public congregates in groups.
Hey, Shelley, can you mute your phone?
Yes.
On March
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Whereas on March 17th, the White Earth RBC declared a state of emergency for the reservation in response to the highly contagious COVID-19 outbreak on March 20th. The RBC issued a resolution on closure of bars, restaurants, and public establishments. And most recently, the White Earth RBC issued a stay-at-home resolution. And whereas due to COVID-19 pandemic and resulting closure and stay-at-home orders and resolution, the economic conditions of the reservation have suffered significantly, resulting in increased unemployment. And whereas the rural setting of the White Earth Reservation, combined with the increased unemployment and other unique circumstances of the pandemic, have led to a significant increase in dumping of garbage and other large waste items such as appliances throughout the White Earth Reservation. Whereas uncollected and uncontained garbage creates a public and environmental health issue by contaminating water sources and providing a breeding ground for disease-carrying animals and insects. And whereas larger waste items pose an immediate threat to personal safety, tribal members and other Indians within the reservation, particularly children who may be tempted to play with such items. Whereas the RBC is committed to protecting the well-being of all tribal members and other Indians, and especially those who are most vulnerable to health issues. And whereas the White Earth RBC believes that a temporary cleanup project would, one, improve the physical environment, community health, and community safety and environmental health of the White Earth Reservation, and two, help ensure the highest possible health status for tribal members and other Indians within the White Earth Reservation. Therefore, be it resolved that the White Earth Reservation Business Committee hereby declares that the increase in dumping of garbage and other large waste items throughout the White Earth Reservation is a health issue. Be it further resolved that the RBC determines that mitigating the increased garbage and other large waste items within the White Earth Reservation is a necessary step to ensure the highest possible health status for tribal members and other Indians within the White Earth Reservation, hereby authorize a temporary cleanup project. And be it further resolved that the White Earth Reservation Business Committee finds that the use of revenues from third-party billing from the band's behavioral health services are an appropriate source of revenue to fund a temporary cleanup effort under the terms of the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. So the only change I would recommend for this, Mr. Chair, is we put a dollar amount in the resolution. Doreen, how much money are you expecting? How much funds are you expecting for this project? You need. Doreen.
Doreen?
Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah.
So it depends on if we're just doing the cleanup project again. If we're just doing the cleanup project and we're just using our current process and paying daily, I don't need any funds. We just need the funds to pay the people that we hire.
So you need
And
funds.
an additional,
Yeah.
I think it's $1 per hour per person for
And
Cherokee.
you can use it for band members that drop off stuff at the,
That's what I'm saying.
we can reimburse
Yeah.
our band members
Yeah.
that are, not reimburse them, but we'll pay for their drop offs.
Like at the transfer station, I
Yes.
think we can use that.
Like mattresses,
Mhm.
TVs, beds, or whatever.
Well, that's why I thought maybe we would implement that once a month free drop off, you know what I mean, where we would pay for that disposal of that.
So, I mean, it'd be nice to get analysis of that, to see how much would that cost us on a monthly basis to add it into.
But then again, we also gotta look at it,
First.
it's only gonna, according to the resolution, it's only gonna be a temporary cleanup project also, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, if we, like he was saying, if we amend this to say till the new fiscal year,
Yeah.
this will be in effect to the new fiscal year. And then next week, we could ask her to come back with another resolution that identifies what you're talking about, like a monthly drop off, and it'll pay for those other appliances. So this one will authorize the use of funds for tribal members, our daily
Good labor.
day labor. So we'll add language in there, be it further resolved that the RBC finds that the use of revenues from third-party billing from the band's behavioral health services are an appropriate source of revenue to fund the temporary cleanup effort under the terms of the Indian Healthcare Improvement Act. We authorize up to $100,000.
Yeah, we can shut up, because we can always add it and
Yep,
amend it.
budget amendment, yep.
Yeah.
Until, so,
Would this include now the community cleanup we got scheduled coming up?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we could use third-party money for that too. Because remember, we're gonna go half with housing, is that how that works? Or do we?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we could use that third-party money for that too right now.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, we just need to get one more resolution from her for those appliances. Like, or if you want to, to me, it's not like absolutely clear on the appliances right now, but I know we can clean up, but I don't know if we can use the funds to, I would like an opinion from her, just to say that. If we can get it by Tuesday, is that okay? She probably will get it to us by Tuesday. But I would like to add $100,000 for the day labor to clean up.
Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Umsey, second?
Second.
Second by Ray, all in favor for day labor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We good. We good, Doreen, thank you.
Now this day labor is that's just gonna be for the community cleanup for now, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, and we can amend the thing.
yeah, I mean, there's gonna be other day
and
labor projects.
I wanna-
I want to be coming up.
I
too, you
could
know.
mention that,
Yep.
that I'm the only one currently working Taro, so if it's any more than like 10 to 12 people that we need, I may need to bring back one Taro person at least to help in that process.
Yeah, if the work they're doing is helping to facilitate this project, then yes, you can bring them on under this funding stream.
Also, I think there are 2 band members that are right now.
Okay.
Yeah, bring them back.
So the only language.
Now, the day labor,
is
the
$100,000.
day labor, they gotta go through TIF, right?
For day labor,
Yep,
Yes,
$100,000 for day labor until October 1, 2020. That's the only other language I added.
To this resolution.
I'm giving it back to you.
And then the second resolution.
can I mention
We
one more thing?
Processing of appliances and garbage dump. Like, if
So
we were-
the once a month transfer station open and then to reimburse the cost to a transfer station,
Yeah.
process, computers, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Whatever they clean up out there.
Yep.
Or 2 band members to clean.
That's gonna be-
They're gonna dump it somewhere else anyway, so.
that's gonna be a big bill, you know?
Yeah, I know, that's why I want to get its own resolution, yeah.
Liz,
Yeah.
I could put one of those letters just for the pack.
So maybe if, once she
Not the
authorizes it,
resolution, you can keep it.
she says this is good, then we get a bill from the sanitation, and then we pass a resolution just to pay that bill. Makes sense? Or just pass a budget for the year.
And the sanitation's making money.
We did send, what's it, Mike up at,
Yeah,
I haven't heard back from him. I did send him that request for that once a month, what
yeah,
that
I
cost
talked to
would
him
be.
about it.
Did you? And then I'll have him give an estimate
His
of,
main concern over that was they're gonna lose revenue.
Not if we're
not
paying
if
for
we're
it.
paying for it.
Well, well, I guess not, but what people are gonna do is they're gonna leave the garbage route and they're gonna store all their garbage for a whole month and then bring it and dump it for nothing.
Well, maybe we just say for large items.
Just
only.
for large items. We could make a list of what items. they'll
I
take.
think the household garbage part should be
They
separate
shouldn't
than,
take that.
yeah,
No,
then,
no.
you know.
But that could be, we could pay for that if they bring it to the bins or whatever. Because otherwise we'll have the same case like that family over by Roy Lake that we cleaned it up and then it's all over the road again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that family is, but I drove by there, it's horrible.
Yeah,
We don't want that either, so
but that's what they do, they will, you know, they'll,
we'll clean it up and then a year later, it's the same, looks like the same thing, we never did nothing. Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, let's just start this and see how it goes, I guess, I mean,
To start.
yeah.
something to at least try to clean up our res, so.
Cool.
All right, we good, thank you, Doreen. Shelley, you're up.
Okay, I'm on, and I think Scott also has joined the meeting.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Okay, yep. Okay, so, do you want me just to go through each policy, or do you wanna just let me know how you want me to proceed?
You could just go through each policy. That's fine, Shelley.
Okay, all right, thank you. So looking at our layoff and our temporary closure, Our layoff policy needed some work to it. It wasn't quite clear on the recall side, so we wanted to be sure that we outlined those processes fairly and consistently, so that once we get to reopen, we can recall those individuals back with some processes. So do you all have copies of the policy in front of you?
Yes.
Yep.
I can kind of take you through each section, or do you want me just to talk about the changes that we put into the policy?
Just the changes should be good.
Okay, all right. So with our recall, we really didn't have it outlined on what order we would recall team members. Looking and referencing back to our hiring policy, exercising Native preference. So we inserted considering Native preference along with seniority when we're recalling team members back. Part of our policy does include considerations for their performance prior to layoff. So the policy does go through defining our recall list using Native preference, then seniority, and then taking a look at their performance. So if someone was coached for attendance, that's still being held and reinstated with their employment. If they've been coached for code of conduct or policy, that's still held with them once they return. Those individuals returning back to employment will be returned back to their position, their rate of pay in their department. Shift could be variable due to how we outlined our open. Some venues may have limited hours or reduced hours. So I guess we're trying to fit what's our full-time equivalent going to look like for each department. So that is kind of how we outlined our layoff and our recall. Along with that, anybody being recalled back to employment and not reporting to their first day of work, it was not in the policy, but I felt it was necessary to add that they would be treated as a voluntary quit with employment, along with raising an issue with Minnesota Unemployment stating that work was available to them. So we do plan to mail out letters along with phone calls to those team members so that we can have two methods of communication available to them to know that we're recalling them back to work. Are there any questions or comments thus far? Okay. So if we have individuals who have a medical reason or have a family member living in their home, if they're able to provide us the documentation to support that, those individuals will be given the option to come back to work, or if they make the statement and provide the justification that they're unable to due to a family medical, we will allow them to continue on layoff. The same thing with giving that option back to our elders if they want to continue on layoff, to let them continue on layoff. Along with that, we have put together our strategy for reopen for how we would do our in-processing for all of those recalls, keeping those social distances in mind. When we have these processes, it's going to take several different sessions to get people back once we get to that point. With that, looking at drug testing. Right now, I discussed with NACOA yesterday the full policy, looking at costs with drug testing. If we drug tested, if we call 340 people back, what that cost could look like. It could be anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, depending upon medical review officer, if they're positive or not. But proposing at this time to only drug test our management and key team members, and then drug testing our non-key team members within 90 days of returning to employment.
Shelley,
Yes.
have you been researching or looking at any type of COVID-19 trainings for our employees that are coming out now through Vegas and through other gaming facilities around the country?
Yes.
I know Scott was.
Yep. So we've put into place and are going to go over that plan today. So when we recall our team members, we'll take them through all their employment paperwork, and then we'll give them a training on safety and health and sanitation guidelines in the workplace. We've defined it for each area on how we're going to disinfect, sanitize, how we're going to do screening, how we're going to wear a mask with our team members. And we want to reassure them that we're putting into place, the best safety guidelines that we can possibly have so that they feel safe coming back to work. And then also those guests coming to our property to ensure that they feel good about the efforts that we're making. So we will be providing that training that day that they come in for recall.
So with that, this is Scott. In working with Carson Gardner and Ed Smithinger in putting together our health and safety protocols and guidelines, that was one of the things that they felt, and we feel as well, that imperative to have in there, to be able to have that time when you call our team members back to provide that training. The knowledge of what COVID-19 is and how it's spread and how we're going to be taking measures to protect them and our guests. So that was something that was definitely talked about and that we're going to key on. And that's why we're looking at, getting, whenever we do determine when to open the doors, to try to get at least a 2-week time frame in advance to get all this training and contacts done and get everything in order. So. Also, with that said, on our documents on the financial side and our plan for reopening, as well as training, health and safety, we want to have that to you tomorrow for review. I know there's ongoing discussions on opening dates, but we wanted to get that to you guys too, to take a look at, provide feedback, and give us a go ahead. And as other tribes have been doing, posting on their website, we can do the same after we conclude that.
Okay. Are there any other questions for that process that we could clarify for you? Okay.
They just have.
So I'll continue on with the layoff policy.
Hello.
So team members in their 90-day introduction period.
Shelley?
Yes.
Sorry, Alan's trying to say something.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I have a hard time hearing. Hey, the only thing I'm saying is that you guys are planning for mitigating factors, health and safety guidelines for our employees and our customers, that they're being protected. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then I thought I heard Scott say that he'd like to publish those guidelines for the RBC to look at, and then for members that are interested on our website.
Yes, that's kind of,
Is that what you said,
I think,
Scott?
the flow with the other casinos, and what they're doing is publishing their safety protocols for everybody to review, so they know kind of what they have outlined to ensure safety.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good idea. And then, but then I'd still like, what's your guys' status on what those other tribes? Because I know you guys have been on them calls and with talking with those other managers.
We've been talking, Alan, this is Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we've been talking, talking a bit with some of the other general managers and the other casinos, directly in our region. Sharing some information back and forth. We've been kind of holding off on some of our plans, other than the health and safety, until we get the go-ahead from the council to provide, additional plans. We don't want to give too much information unless we get the approval from the council on any business ops and those types of things. But we've been having communications, but there's not a lot coming right now, other than everybody's waiting for a date, and everybody keeps having the same message, which is important for the health and safety and making sure we have measures in place.
Well, I think just to clarify, Scott, I think part of the RBC's intent is that we want a plan, a business plan, before we even give an opening date.
Yeah.
So I think you guys got it inverted there. We want a plan before we give you an opening date, not that we want to give you an opening date and then ask for a plan. We want a plan before we give an opening date on anything. I just want to clarify that.
And I'm glad you did. We heard you, and that's what will also be wrapped up into the document that we want to provide to you on Friday, Alan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I need a motion to this.
Do they need a motion?
So,
Well,
am I able to continue
Shelley,
with the layoff policy?
You want approval of these changes in the policies, right?
Yes, that's what we're seeking.
Okay.
Yes, we have 3 policies that we needed to make. The major changes are on the layoff policy, but we have our holiday policy and then our drug-free workplace policy that we're bringing back to the table.
I think you went over all 3 of them.
Yeah, so motion.
All right, Shell, we'll do a motion to accept these new changes to these 3 policies, the drug policy, the layoff, and, what was the last one?
Holiday pay.
Holiday pay. Motion?
Okay,
Motion.
Motion by Alan, second? Second by Kathy. All in favor?
All right.
Motion carries. Thank you, Shelley.
thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Al.
Next up is groundbreaking ceremony for White Earth Health Center.
For what?
The White Earth Health Center groundbreaking ceremony.
All right.
When's that?
So I think they're looking for some ideas from you guys on how maybe you want to proceed with all the social distancing and with the COVID.
Schedule a date and do social distance on it, or what? Everyone has masks.
Mhm.
Who will do the prayer? Is it okay to have a drum group, or come or not? Or the council on the speak?
So it looks like they're not gonna do a feast,
Yeah.
which
This is probably smart.
is probably the smart thing, but
Well, I think our chairman should give a speech up there because, especially with the health pandemic and all that,
Yeah, I'll go do
chair for the
it. That's on May
speech.
11th, isn't it, Liz?
Well,
Or is it pending?
they're plan on starting out at site the week of May 11th. They're planning it now.
All right, we'll just add it to the calendar. I'll do it, so.
So you'll do, and then,
The welcoming and talk about health.
Yeah.
So.
and it's IHS, so I'll just have them work out the details on the safety issues for it and that you would speak. Okay.
All right. And the next one up is this letter for Native American Community Clinic. They asked for our support. So I know they were talking about supporting their bonding down in Minneapolis because they they do serve some of our band members down there, so they're looking just for a letter of support to, support their bond and bonding bill, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I do know that they called me yesterday there too, and they said that they do serve a lot of people. And in fact, they're trying to expand their footprint down there.
Yeah.
And so this would allow them to own the facility that they have instead of having to rent it out. I think that's what was explained to me. I do know that they are gonna try to bring it to the TEC meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's on the agenda.
It is, huh?
I think it is, but Kathy will put it on here.
Okay. I like.
My act already approved it, I think.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm in favor of this.
I don't think we need a vote on it. I think we just need consensus, don't we? Consensus, guys? Kathy, Ray, did you guys get a copy of that support letter for supporting the Native American Community Clinic down in Minneapolis, NAC? Just under bonding, they have a bill in the House or legislation now for to help them expand their services down in the metro area. So, are you guys in favor of that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in favor of it.
All right. Good. All right. So we're in consensus that we support that.
Sign your letter there.
Do you want to do signatory requests before we do?
Yeah. The first one, we're gonna do signature request. First one is Whiter Childcare, a renewal, license renewal, District 1.
Tanika Jaeger.
Yeah, Taniqua Jaeger.
Tanika Yeager.
Motion.
Motion by Ray, second.
Second.
Second by Kathy, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Next one is Jenna Lentbauer from COLA, updated school buses.
Let's see here.
To replace 2 school buses, $125,000.
Come on, the general fund.
Of the general fund promised. I think I do remember them being approved to get them.
We did approve that.
Yeah.
Motion. Motion to approve the buses, 2 buses for COLA.
Motion.
Motion by Ray, second.
Yes.
Second by Umsey, all in favor?
Right.
Motion carries. The next one is Jenna again. This one is $70,000 or 20,000 for
See, that's the general fund.
the pavement of main entrance to the Circle Life Academy. I must have said something in the past that.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I remember the buses.
I remember the buses, yeah.
Honestly, I can't remember this one.
You want to hold off on this? 'Cause I think-
No, I don't think that came up before, I don't think.
And maybe we could ask her about
We'll
it.
have to go back in the
Okay, we'll table it.
notes and look, yeah.
All right, next one is another one by Jen Cola, and this one is $14,400, and this comes out of, general fund again.
Coming out of that 1.3 that we allocated to them. Yeah,
Is that,
that's what it says there. Promised 1.3 million donation for COLA.
I mean, if we give them 1.3, how come they have to Or is are these amendments to the expenditures on that budget? I thought they could just,
Well, we passed a motion that we would donate up to 1.3.
okay.
And so that's what she's referencing. And so
Okay,
for her to
okay,
get
okay,
those,
okay.
So that's what she's referencing.
So then that's what this one is too,
The
probably.
pavement.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. But it would still be nice for her to come in and discuss these things with us.
Yeah, I mean, do they need them like really bad?
Yeah, given the COVID pandemic and all the layoffs right now, so.
Yeah, is it something that can wait or?
Yeah, we'll have to bring these two back and she can bring them back next.
$1,400 for acoustics.
Yeah, we can talk to her about this stuff.
All right, we'll just table that one too, so.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the spring letter, the health dollars we talked about. I guess next up is, we're almost done, is executive session, so. Anything else on there, guys, that we're missing? All right, next up is gonna be executive session, so I wanna say chimigwich to all the listeners out there, so. Miigwech, stay safe. Check on your elders. You get in the corner.